We all know the cesspit that can be the Steam new releases category, with games only making you question how Steam is a dominant platform. Which is why today I decided to once again venture down the Steam new releases category, and this time choose a couple of games to play through and review. I made sure to pick games that actually have at least a little bit of real gameplay, though the quality will still vary. Quick side note, I'm not trying to hate on any new developers here. This should be taken more as constructive criticism as opposed to just outright hate. Use it to make your next games better. Our first game here is Deep in the Snowy Night 2. At first, I didn't realize this game was a sequel because I'm apparently legally blind, but it didn't really make much of a difference anyway, as there is a little recap at the start of the game. We play as Christopher, a father of 3 who, after beating his addiction with alcohol, subsequently relapsed after his wife was killed in a house explosion. I'm sorry for laughing, it was just so unexpected. At least this time we get an actual cutscene. After drinking one too many shots of apple cider, we pass out on the side of the road and wake up in a nightmare. Now, this game is supposed to be a horror/thriller game, and although the jump scares are honestly quite shitty, I cannot say that they never got me. Oh my fucking god, I can't believe that actually scared me. The game is so quiet, I have my lights on and everything, and I still screamed. After screaming like a little bitch, we find ourselves in a dark snowy town as a voice introduces itself. Already, I dislike that the first 3 levels are the exact same thing, just walk from one end to the other. Like, I don't see why it needed to be separated. It could have just been one longer tutorial level to introduce the mechanics, but it wasn't. But at least this time we're shown that the boogeyman will chase us down as we perform our task. After that, we have to collect 4 code fragments scattered along the map in order to unlock this door. It's pretty annoying how there is no indication whatsoever of where the fragments are. The game just wants you to run around and find them yourself. What's even more annoying is that the boogeyman does not leave you alone for even a second, and sometimes it's just straight up spawn camping one of the fragments. Anyways, after successfully opening the door, we move on to the same road we passed out on, where a statue of a man I can only assume to be Walt Disney has a plaque reading, "Look behind you." He's coming for me. There's also now an added mechanic called freezing, and if we don't heat up, we basically just die. The game tells you that standing by campfires will warm you up, but it doesn't tell you that you have to light the campfires up by finding 3 of these little matchsticks throughout the map. To all game developers out there, it's alright to guide your players a little bit, not everything has to be cryptic or vague. Other than that though, the game just has you looking for trash cans in the dark as you're being chased. Once you find them all, you can enter the tunnel and just move on. We then get a little cutscene of Olaf just staring us down as we scurry off like a track star. This is supposed to be the snowman antagonist from the first game, I'm pretty sure. I just thought I'd mention that. The next part has a small bunker where we find a note. This note tells us that sold beer bottles are in fact flammable, and you know what that means. That's right, we have to blow this entire place up. It feels like none of the quests or missions are even like connected to an overall story anymore. This entire level, though being practically the same thing as the previous ones, was even more annoying because your body temperature drops faster than if you were cruising through Antarctica shirtless. So apart from getting past these NFL level defense over here, you're also fighting against the clock to find 3 matchsticks. I still don't know why we lit this place up, but don't worry, the game's practically almost over. We're just gonna skip through these next couple of levels as they're all just fetch quests again. I mean, that's practically the entire game. Just fetch this and that as you prevent yourself from freezing to death and also running away from this thing. Please, please, leave me alone! Please, right here! It's right here! Oh, get in the car, go, drive! But now we're in a big city that we don't recognize. In order for us to remember, we have to collect these little memory fragments. After doing so, we're treated to a cutscene that actually caught even me off guard. Breaking news. What the fuck? Sky District shuts down. Yo, holy shit! Whoa, what the fuck, Spider-Man? Why did he pull a Spider-Man pose before killing him? But after supposedly surviving the jump, we enter the building and find ourselves in hell. Literally, I can't even tell we're dreaming anymore. It's crazy because just when I thought the game was about to get real good, it hits me with a to be continued. Just when I was finally getting excited, the game decides to end. I mean, all in all, this game would have been even more boring if there hadn't been a little fuckface chasing after me the entire time. But the game is still quite repetitive with levels that don't connect at all to create one larger story, let alone make any sense whatsoever. I'd give Deep in the Snowy Night 2 4 snowballs out of 10, while the boogeyman gets a please delete this from the game out of 10 as well. Next game on the list, Verago Reality New, is quite sad I guess. Only if you focus on the overall message as opposed to literally anything else in this game. We play as Willow, a child who, after being told our mother regrets having us, we're the reason that our father left and we're just an all-around mistake, gets kicked out of the house and is forced to roam the streets. The game plays on the fear of a child that has just been abandoned. If you get too close to a stranger, there will be a fear timer that begins counting down, and if you don't run away from them in time, you'll pass out. But there's no timer on women because women can't be predators, obviously. There's also a stalker chasing after you, which, I mean, came out of nowhere. Storytelling wise, I feel like a cutscene or two was missing in between you leaving the house and running around in the streets, unless this stalker had been watching you since the day you were born. But after speaking to the old lady, we're told to just run to an old man while again being chased by a stalker. After getting to the old man, we have to play fucking Subway Surfers for some reason. I'm not even joking, this shit was so random. And it was all just to get knocked over by this bus. We weren't even meant to escape. Afterwards, we get kidnapped by the stalker and have to find a way out of his home. How do we leave, you may ask? The stalker, I guess, just left the key lying around this house, which we can use to open up the door. But after going through the door, we talk to this police officer here and also Kim Kardashian, but the poison the stalker gave us in the tea finally hits and we pass out. And then we wake up in the fucking back rooms. I guess the developer wanted to convey the sense of isolation. I mean, Willow has just been basically disowned by her own mother, and although there are people out in the streets trying to help her, none of them stick around for more than 3 seconds. Technically, I guess there is nobody truly there for her. Either that or I'm reading too much into it and the developer just got a little lazy, hoping to drag out as much playtime as possible by adding in an empty maze. But once we exit the maze, we wake up in a hospital bed, I presume, as Kim Kardashian leaves us with the stalker. This again is what makes me feel like the developer forgot to include a couple of cutscenes here and there. One second we're in a hospital bed and the next we're trying to make our way down this hallway while hiding from the stalker. The same stalker that was already in the room with us. I don't care how indie of a developer you are. I'm expecting a full game with an understandable storyline, especially if I'm paying money. The next couple of sections are quite cheap, all simple, and just as confusingly and lazily put together as the last. We board a bus to make our way back home with our mom very happy to see us again. She tells us that a man was looking for us, which of course is a stalker. After being put to sleep, we're once again in another nightmare. I'll just say that this is another example of isolation as we have to find our way out while being chased by a monster. I also just can't believe how weird the stalker can be without my mother even giving a shit, which unfortunately isn't even unrealistic. A lot of parents don't understand a weirdo's intentions even if they make it abundantly clear because they either trust too much or don't trust their children at all, which is the case in this game. But after this little conversation, I have no idea what the fuck is even going on anymore. We walk down this road of stalkers while reading messages about how there's always someone that will love us even if finding them feels hopeless, and that someone for Willow is apparently Kim Kardashian, the woman that showed up for 2 scenes in total and did practically nothing for us. I think the names were accidentally swapped here because I don't think Kim would be saying this isn't the end unless I missed something and we're hinting at a sequel here. We end the game with praise about how we were brave for fighting against that man and that she too knows how it feels to be left alone in this world. Little nitpick, she says it's good that we stayed close to where people could see us even though those same people on the streets were also preying on me, so the message doesn't really align with the gameplay, but I digress. Putting aside the strange character models and the boring ass gameplay, the message posed by this game is actually one that is quite serious and that parents nowadays seem to be neglecting more and more. A lot of people suffer in the same way Willow has, though of course not exactly like this, and though it may be tough, it's important to never give up or feel like your life is worthless. This is starting to turn into a motivational video as opposed to a gameplay review, so I'm just gonna stop right there. I'm giving Virago Reality News story a 5 out of 10 because though the story was messily put together, it still had a strong message deep down. But the game itself gets a 2 out of 10, only saved by the fact that I had a good laugh every now and then from the absurdity of everything. Next game on our list is called Peasant Royale, and it's just so strange I couldn't help but include it. Wait, what? Peasant Royale is what all fans of the Battle Royale genre have been waiting for so long? Is that true? When you play Fortnite, have you been waiting for Peasant Royale?
Dude, yeah, I've been waiting for it forever.
It's basically like PUBG if it took place during the medieval times. The gliding mechanic could use some work as it just forces you to move horizontally and as fast as possible. Solos is the only game mode, but that doesn't stop people from teaming and for some reason also shit talking in chat. Other than that though, this game is just so fucking stupid. I'm sorry. The movement is a little wonky. The fighting can either register or not. It depends on how the game feels. You might have to play on European servers or vice versa because there are only a handful of them. And despite its small player count due to being relatively unknown, the developer still saw fit to create a map the size of Europe. Sorry, I had no other examples for that. Peasant Royale gets 3 shillings out of 10. Would only play again if they had muskets. The last game I want to briefly mention is called Seal World. World, this is honestly the only game out of all of these that I can see myself playing every now and then, as it's just quite relaxing. It's about a little seal who only has fish, or fibsh as they're called in the game, on his mind, with his goal being to find and eat the almighty and legendary fibsh. The nice thing about this game is that there was clearly actual effort and care put into it, with an actual interactable environment alongside a healthy cast of characters. This game has been in development for well over a year, it seems, with an official release just recently, so that explains why it's much more beefier than the others. Trust me, game developers, a good game usually takes much longer than a couple of months to produce. It's the only game I haven't finished out of all of these because there's actually more to it than just going from point A to point B like the rest. I'm not trying to hate on solo developers because clearly this was done by, I assume, at least a small team, but I'm just trying to show what true love, care, and time given to a game can lead to. But in the end, the games mentioned here seem to be the developers' first real attempts at making games, so obviously there's still a lot of room to improve. I'm sure they'll get better as they continue to hone their craft just like any skill. I might play deep into Snowy Night 3 just because I really want to see how that story ends, unless I just completely forget about it by the time it releases. All the games mentioned are pretty cheap, with Peasant Royale just being outright free, so if you want to go buy them you can, though I think the only one that was worth buying is Seal World. And I also thought I might as well mention in the video, because everyone was asking in the last one, I didn't refund any of the games because I didn't see the need to. These games were like fucking $3-4. I spent a total of $12 on these. I'm not desperate for $12. But other than that, that's about all I have for this video. Subscribe if you like, check out my socials in the description, and ciao ciao.